Joining me now with more details on General Petraeus' testimony today at that closed-door hearing, Missouri Senator Roy Blunt, Vice Chair of the Republican Conference and a member of the Intelligence Committee. Senator, thank you very much. There has been talk by some on the House side, Peter King among others, that General Petraeus testified that he knew right away that this was a terror attack in Benghazi. Is there a disconnect between what he says he knew and what the White House was saying?
Well, I think so, and I've thought so the whole time. I was at a different briefing on the Senate side than Peter King was on the House side, so I don't know exactly what they said, but...
But is that consistent with what he told you all?
It is. Consistent in that he said there were involvement of terror groups in all likelihood in what was happening. If that's what Congressman King was saying, he said it. That's what I remember him saying to us at about the same time on September the 13th.
Senator Feinstein came out and was saying that it was not fair to pillory, that's her word, pillory Susan Rice, using the unclassified version of talking points that have been prepared for the House Intelligence Committee and agreed on by consensus of all the intelligence agencies. That is not a fair hit on her to say that she's not qualified to be Secretary of State. Now, some of your colleagues, Lindsey Graham and John McCain, have been very outspoken on this point. What say you?
Well, I think there's a lot of questions to be answered here yet, and one would be, Susan Rice has lots of briefings, just like I believe she has access to the President's daily brief information. What did the President know? What did she know? And was she giving information she knew not to be accurate? There's a difference if all you're doing is talking from the unclassified talking points, which basically means you could find most of this in the newspaper, and that's all you know, or if you know something that clearly is different than what you're telling the American people. She may just know exactly what she said, and if that's the case, I'm wondering why 5 days later she's the person the White House has out there saying things that clearly was not in agreement with the CIA's early analysis of what had really happened. Now, the one thing the CIA did say, Andrea, was early on, was that it looks like there was a demonstration before all this started. Now we know there wasn't a demonstration at all. We saw the surveillance videotapes yesterday. Everybody agrees there was no demonstration. We actually had people at that facility that were in Germany the next day because we got them out of there. Why didn't somebody ask them if there was a demonstration or not? The idea that the FBI and the CIA couldn't figure out for 14 days, in 14 days, whether there was a demonstration or not is pretty amazing to me.
And what about the Inspector General, the CIA Inspector General's investigation into David Petraeus, into whether he used the resources of the agency to further his personal relationship, the affair? Do you think it's appropriate? What was his demeanor today? This is a pretty emotional time for this man.
Well, his demeanor was what you'd expect of him. He has always been very professional with the Senate Intelligence Committee. I think there was incredible confidence in his leadership at the CIA and his openness with us about intelligence information and activities. And I think it'd be safe to say that on both that the entire committee showed lots of regret that he was having to leave this job. But somebody else is going to have to decide later whether his judgment was something that ought to be questioned as how he used CIA resources. I'd be shocked, even more shocked, if that was the case.
And do you think he had to resign? And should the President have accepted it?
I don't know enough to know that. Based on what I know, I wouldn't think so. I mean, clearly this is not someone who's going to be subject to blackmail. He's willing to have all this information out there. That's the logical reason that you'd say this person should step aside. But there's more of that story to be told, and I'm sure we'll hear what it is.
Thank you so much, Senator Roy Blunt.
Bet.
Thanks for being with us.